We're going to look today at the Siman Taf Samech Het, 468 of Tur Orach Haim, where he speaks about Erev Pesah. What are the laws of Erev Pesah? So he says the following: Ha'oseh melacha be'arvei Shabbatot ve'yamim tovim min ha'mincha u'lma'ala eno ro'eh siman beracha le'olam uve'erev Pesach mechatzot u'lma'ala asur u'mishamtinan leh. So these are harsh words. It says anyone who works on Erev Shabbat and Yom Tov min ha'mincha u'lma'ala, which is about 2.5 hours after midday, it depends, like 3, 4 o'clock. And no way siman bracha le'olam, there'll be no blessing in this work. So that's Erev Shabbat and Yom Tov. Be'erev Pesach mechatzot u'lema'ala asur, but on Erev Pesach it is forbidden from midday, and if one still does work, mishamtinan le, it will be put in herek, excommunication. So like I said, this is a harsh statement, right? So first of all, we have to clarify that melacha, when they talk about melacha, they speak about craftsmanship, carpenter, painter, stuff like that, like construction. They want people to stop enough time before Shabbat, so they will be able to be ready for Shabbat. They don't say that it will be that is a curse or anything like that. So there's no way siman bracha that one has to be prepared. Right. Right. So right. It's part of the mitzvah to prepare for Shabbat. Right. For the men also to take part of the household chores is also mitzvah for Shabbat. But there are places, like in New York, a lot of people work in the city, and it takes time, so they get right. So they work. So working in the office doesn't fall under that. In an office or a store doesn't fall under that. They speak about manual labor that should not be conducted at Erev Shabbat. At the Erev Pesach, yes. No, so of course one also has to take into account traffic to get home in time before Shabbat, not to be stuck. But Erev Pesach, there's a special status that it says here, mechatzot u'lema'ala asur, that after midday one is not supposed to do melacha. V'kodem chatzot talui b'minhag, and in the morning it depends on one's minhag. On one's minhag. So now the question is that must be raised: why is Erev Pesach different than all other days? Why is Erev Pesach not like Erev Shabbat? So some people wanted to suggest that the reason Erev Pesach you have to stop working earlier is because it takes more time to prepare for the seder, for the whole seder night. That takes much more preparation. This argument is a little problematic because, as we well know, traditionally the women were the one who were preparing it. I mean, even though today we have a more egalitarian society, some men help more at home, but traditionally women were doing that. So it wasn't such a huge difference for the men whether it's Shabbat, Yom Tov, or Pesach. I mean, even if you look at the Mishnah, the way the Mishnah describes the Leil HaSeder, it says, Arvei Pesachim lo yochal adam ad shetechshach. On Erev Pesach, one should not eat until it's dark. Ve'afilu ani sheb'Yisrael lo yochal ad sheyasev. Even the poorest person must recline when he's eating. Ve'lo yifhatu lo me'arba kusot, and they must serve him 4 cups of wine. It says they must serve him, meaning the Baal Abayit, the man, sits and other people serve him. As a matter of fact, in the original practice of the Seder, only the man, the Baal Abayit, the father, or whoever, the head of the household, he was the only one who had the 4 cups. Not everyone did everything. He did it for everyone, for all those who were present. So he's more like, we call it afandi. He comes, Pasha. Then he comes home just before Shabbat, gets ready. So it's not a big difference for him. So why is it that on Erev Pesach, right, we don't, there was a practice, and it seems like there's also a mahloket, a debate, whether you have to stop doing work in the morning or in midday. And really there is a debate like that. It is mentioned in the Mishnah that there were two different minhagim. In Yehuda, in the area near Yerushalayim, in the center of Israel, the minhag was to do melacha on Erev Pesach until Hatzot, until midday. In the Galil, in the north of Israel, the minhag was to stop from the night before. So they would make Yudaled sort of a Yom Tov. Why did they have such a difference? We're talking not about, Ashkenaz, Farad, communities which are like almost a world apart. It's the same country in Eretz Israel, the north and the center. How can it be that Yerushalayim people work in the morning and in the north they say no, we don't work? Must have been something very deep or essential in that difference in the minhag. So I'm explaining. So the answer to that is that originally, when you look in the Torah, the day of the Yudalet of 14th of Nisan is a separate holiday. It has a separate name. Whenever the Torah speaks of Hag Pesach, it doesn't speak of the 15th to the 21 of Nisan. It speaks of the 14th. The day of Erev Pesach was considered a holiday, not a holiday in the sense of lo ta'asu melacha, that you're not allowed to work. It said no. The Torah calls it Hag Pesach. The Torah calls it Pesach. That is Pesach. Why? Because that's the day when you bring the korban. So now the Pesach has a special status because the practice was at the time of the Bet HaMikdash that whenever a person brings a sacrifice to the Bet HaMikdash, he takes a personal holiday. It's like it's your Yom Tov, because when you go to the temple, we're not talking about the korban such as for repentance, asham, hatat, but korban todah. When someone brings a sacrifice to Bet HaMikdash to thank Hashem for a miracle or just to to celebrate a happy occasion, for him it's a Yom Tov. So on that day, he's not allowed to fast, he's not allowed to say Tahanun, if there were Tahanun at the time, etc., etc. So now imagine Erev Pesach, that everyone, all Am Yisrael, all bring their personal korbanot. So for them, it's a national holiday. It's a national Yom Tov. So they stop working on the night before, and the whole day is dedicated to the spiritual preparation for Korban Pesach. For the personal preparation for Korban Pesach. So they didn't do work. They did not work on the 14th of Nisan. And it's always called Hag Pesach. After the Churban, after the destruction of Bet HaMikdash, this whole thing was shattered. Now, all the minhagim, can you imagine the shock that people in Israel had after the Churban? This is the center of your life. Everything revolves around the temple. The Bet HaMikdash has been there for almost 600 years. Like, longer than we can remember. It's like, imagine that this synagogue, we're not talking about the Magen David was built 60 years ago, but rather, it was built 600 years ago, right? 1420, that's before Gerush Sfarad. This is really a piece of history. And that's the only synagogue in the area, the only synagogue in the world. Of course, it has a very special value, but then it's destroyed. Now all the practices that were related to the temple have been emptied, and you have to fill in the void. So they did it in different ways. So for Korban Pesach, the rabbis created Seder night, where they said we would eat the matzah and maror without meat, and they filled it in with more question and wine and a lot of other ideas that help us enhance the Seder. Now, but the status of the 14th of Nisan now became a question. You don't bring a korban anymore. Do you have to celebrate it? Do you don't have to? Do you not celebrate it? What do you do with that day? So here we have a split between Yehuda and the Galil. The people in both places, they felt that they have to, even though there's no korban anymore, they still have to maintain some kind of the character, part of the character of the day, to make it a special day. But the people of Yehuda said half a day is enough. It's true that when we had the temple, we did from the night before, it was like a Yom Tov. But now we don't have the temple, half a day is okay. The people of the Galil said, no, we want to preserve the day as it was. And God willing, soon we will have the Bet HaMikdash again. That's what they were thinking. They didn't know it's going to take more than 2,000 years. Now, the interesting thing is that we would have thought it would be the other way around. We would have thought that the people in Yehuda who lived in Yerushalayim, right next to the Bet HaMikdash, would be more shocked by the loss of Bet HaMikdash and will keep a whole day. And the people who lived far away will be more indifferent. Okay, we lost the Bet HaMikdash, we'll do half a day. But it was the other way around for two reasons. One is that already in Yerushalayim, Yerushalayim was a center of Hellenism. The Hellenistic culture from Alexander the Great took root in Yerushalayim. Even the Kohanim, Mityavnim, exactly. The Mityavnim, the Hellenizers, had a very strong presence in Yerushalayim, even in the temple, even among the Kohanim, or even, not even, specifically among the Kohanim, because the Kohanim were the elite group, and they connected with the Greek elite. The Kohanim built, at a certain point, they built a gymnasium and a theater not far from the temple, a gymnasium where they did all their athletic activities in the Greek style, and in the theater they presented tragedies and comedies. So for them, the loss of Bet HaMikdash, they said, okay, we move from one culture to another. They were not as pious, as religious or devout as the people in the north. The people in the north, for them, they were more rooted in the Jewish tradition, and for them the loss of Bet HaMikdash was much more powerful than it was for the people of Yehuda. The other reason is that for people, when you go to visit, for example, when you go to visit Yerushalayim, someone who lives, let's say, I have friends who live in the old city, right by the Kotel, and you go there, and you walk with them to the Kotel, like, oh my God, it's amazing, it's beautiful, it's nice. I mean, they love it, they're not, but they got used to it, because they're there every day. They live there every day. It's the same thing. The people who live in the Galil, for them, Yerushalayim was the end all. It was special, it was not something that cannot be replaced. So when it was gone, it was gone. For the people who lived in Yerushalayim, they recovered. Okay, we had it here, but the Mikdash didn't play such an important part for them, unfortunately. And maybe that's also the reason why some of them became more connected to Greek culture than others. In any case, the remnant of this split between the people of the Galil and the people of Yehuda is what caused the minhag that some people don't do melacha Erev Pesah from the night before, and some people stop only after Hatzot. This is the source of today, each place, each community has its minhagim. Like I said, people keep working. Most of us are not engaged in manual labor, but people who do construction or agriculture should stop that kind of work half day and get ready for Pesach.